One morning, bank employees unlocked their doors just like they had every other day. Customers walked in, cash machines worked, security cameras recorded everything. Nothing looked unusual. There were no broken windows, no masked robbers, no gunfire, no frantic alarms. Yet somewhere behind the scenes, millions of dollars had already disappeared. And by the time anyone realized what was happening, the thieves had quietly moved from one bank to another, repeating the same invisible crime across the world. This wasn't the work of master safecrackers or Hollywood-style criminals. It was a group of hackers who discovered that the easiest way to rob a bank wasn't to break into the vault, it was to convince the bank to hand over its own money. For years, investigators struggled to understand how some of the world's most secure financial institutions kept losing enormous sums without any obvious signs of intrusion. The missing money didn't fit any familiar pattern. Vaults remained locked, records appeared normal, employees followed routine procedures. It was as if the cash had simply vanished. The mystery began with something almost laughably ordinary. An employee received an email. It looked legitimate, perhaps a message from a colleague or a trusted business partner. One careless click was enough. Hidden software quietly slipped into the bank's network, invisible to the person who had unknowingly opened the door. The attackers didn't rush. They understood that patience was worth far more than speed. Instead of stealing immediately, they watched. For weeks, sometimes months, they silently observed everything happening inside the bank. They learned how employees logged in each morning. They memorized approval processes. They studied which computers controlled ATMs, payment systems, and account databases. Every click, every password, every routine became another piece of a carefully assembled puzzle. Unlike most cybercriminals, they weren't trying to smash through digital defenses. They wanted to become part of the system itself. Eventually, they knew the bank almost better than the people working there. Then came the first move. Using stolen administrator privileges, the hackers gained control over critical banking systems. They could see balances, authorize transactions, and monitor internal communications. But even then, they waited. Moving too early could expose everything. Instead, they perfected the illusion that nothing was wrong. When the time finally came, the thefts unfolded with astonishing precision. In one bank, account balances were quietly altered. Money appeared in temporary accounts controlled by the criminals before disappearing through layers of international transfers. Elsewhere, the hackers instructed ATMs to dispense cash at exact times. Across different cities, people known as money mules casually walked up to cash machines. There were no bank cards, no accounts. Sometimes they simply stood nearby, waiting. At the appointed moment, the ATM began spitting out stacks of cash as if obeying an invisible customer. The mule collected the money and disappeared before anyone questioned what had happened. To security cameras, it looked almost ordinary. No forced entry, just another ATM doing exactly what it had been told, except the instructions weren't coming from the bank anymore. As investigators later discovered, the criminals had effectively become invisible employees. Some transactions were manually approved by the hackers using stolen credentials. Others were hidden beneath layers of legitimate banking activity. The result was terrifying. Many banks had absolutely no idea they were being robbed. Days passed, sometimes weeks. In certain cases, investigators believed the criminals remained inside bank networks for months before taking a single dollar. Their patience paid off. Each successful theft taught them something new. Every bank became a training ground for attacking the next. Soon the operation expanded across Europe, Asia, North America, and beyond. Financial institutions that spent billions protecting physical vaults found themselves defenseless against attackers sitting thousands of miles away. The group behind these attacks eventually became known as Carbanak, named after the sophisticated malware investigators uncovered during the investigation. But discovering the malware solved only part of the mystery. The bigger question remained: who were they? No explosions. Unlike traditional criminals, they left almost no useful fingerprints. Their servers moved constantly. Digital identities vanished overnight. Money crossed borders faster than investigators could follow. Every clue seemed to disappear into another country with different laws, different jurisdictions, and different challenges. Law enforcement agencies from multiple nations began working together, slowly piecing together fragments of evidence. Meanwhile, the attacks continued. Some banks lost millions from a single operation. Others never publicly disclosed the full extent of their losses, fearing damage to customer confidence. Security experts realized something deeply unsettling. This wasn't just hacking, it was psychological warfare. The criminals understood banking operations, corporate behavior, employee routines, and human trust better than many insiders. Technology alone wasn't wasn't defeating the banks. Human nature was. Employees trusted emails, managers trusted computer systems, auditors trusted records, and the hackers quietly manipulated every layer of that trust. Each successful robbery made them bolder. Instead of targeting customers, they targeted the institutions themselves. Instead of stealing passwords alone, they stole authority. That difference changed everything. Around the world, cybersecurity teams raced to understand techniques they had never encountered before. Traditional defenses focused on keeping attackers outside. Carbanak proved the real danger began after they got inside. Banks invested heavily in firewalls, encryption, and surveillance, but none of those mattered if criminals could patiently imitate trusted employees from within. Eventually, investigators began connecting incidents that had once seemed unrelated. A suspicious transfer in one country, an unusual ATM withdrawal in another, a compromised administrator account somewhere else. Together, they revealed a single coordinated campaign unlike anything the banking industry had experienced before. Reports estimated losses reaching hundreds of millions of dollars, with some investigations suggesting the global damage approached $1 billion. The exact number may never be known. Many institutions quietly improved their security rather than publicly admitting what had happened. Behind closed doors, executives faced an uncomfortable reality. The greatest bank robbery of the digital age hadn't involved violence. It hadn't required dynamite, tunnels, or hostages. It required patience, intelligence, and one employee clicking the wrong email. Years of international investigation eventually led authorities to identify and arrest individuals linked to the operation. Yet by then, the damage had already reshaped global banking security. Continuous monitoring replaced simple perimeter defenses. Banks around the world rewrote their cybersecurity strategies. Employee training became just as important as advanced software. Financial institutions learned that the strongest vault in the world means very little if someone quietly steals the keys. The Carbanak attacks marked a turning point in criminal history. They proved that the most dangerous robber doesn't always wear a mask.